The stream is about to start. We'll talk about code or whatever we'll talk about today. It's about to start, so please hang tight while I check that everything is okay. Sound check, camera check, lights check. How's my hair? Oh, wait, I don't have any hair. Maybe put some pants on and I am good to go. So get ready wherever you are, 'cause the stream is about to start. Get ready wherever you are, 'cause the stream is about to start. He is ready. Hello everyone and welcome to another meeting of the C++ Digital Signal Processing JUCE study group. And Fotis is ready. How are you doing, Fotis?
Hello. I'm good. I'm making a cute little plugin interface that will make everyone go, "Aww." How are you?
Talk about doing things last minute. Speaking of last minute, I was playing around with OBS before and I wanted to double check here that the levels are right. And they seem to be. All right. I am doing well. And do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Yeah, I suppose I could go first. I don't have anything JSFX related to say because I remembered to post that code thread just a few hours ago. So I probably haven't had an answer. But we can make something in HISE together because I want to showcase the new time stretch capabilities.
Sure, let's do that. And I want to play the game. Don't forget about the game.
Oh yeah, the game, of course. So first I'm gonna share my screen. And there it is. I'm working on the kawaii piano. It's a little otter that's playing the piano.
Cute.
Oh, there is. Thanks. There is a wordplay here. I was originally working on that thing with drums with the toucan, but the sample map ended up being way too complicated. So I trashed it and decided to make a piano one instead. Does the sound come through?
Yes.
Yes.
And can you expand on what was complicated and made you decide to not continue?
Yeah. Basically, HISE has an SFZ loader, but it's pretty simplistic. So instead I had used that website that's called SFZ to HISE converter to convert the Larry Sayer drums into an HISE sample map. But it ended up creating 30 round-robin groups for no apparent reason. So I got frustrated and I was too lazy and with a headache to fix it. So instead I loaded a simpler sample map and I loaded it directly.
Hello?
Oh, there's Bo. Hey, Bo.
Hello.
So I loaded the SFZ directly because, I had a few problems with this.
I hear...
Well, we can hear you, so I'm muting you, Bo, while you are figuring things out.
So this piano library is free and in the public domain, and you can download it from Vercillion Studios GitHub. Oh, by the way, I broke GitHub today. In the last study group, I broke JSFX. No, I broke GitHub. Yay!
What happened?
I was going to on a specific repository's network, so I could see that screen with the paths that shows you the various repositories. And suddenly I got a 404 error. That's never happened to me before.
Oh, a 404 is not super broken. If you got a 500 error, that is a server saying server error.
I quit. Yeah. So... like I said, here are the sample maps. Now, a week ago, Christoph Hart added a new feature in HISE called time stretching. So theoretically, when we check this voice start, we can actually time stretch the samples. Now it's 100, so it will be the same. Now let's stretch those and see what happens. And it doesn't work. Woohoo! Amazing. Should I choose all the samples at once? Oh, okay. How about time variant? Nope, they seem to be the same. That's so weird. Oh god. Anyway, so it is promising. It has a tempo sync, which will be useful in my future endeavors with drum machines and the like. But why isn't it working? I installed everything.
That would be because you turned on the camera.
Yes, that explains everything.
Yes.
Problem exists between keyboard and chair, like they say. Oh god, so yeah, I broke HISE, everyone.
You are breaking lots of things today.
Yeah, it's my lucky day. So this says voice settings. Isn't there like a global setting to set the time stretch?
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Bo. Oh wait, there's another one.
Was I making a fool of myself, rigging up the system, or?
No,
No,
you were just saying
I've been
like, why
making a
can't I
fool.
hear you? And then I muted you, so you were fine. You were not like
Yeah,
cursing or
Class.
something.
I've been breaking
Cursing in
everything.
Swedish.
So I'm gonna try one more time, and if not, I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna check just what is this? It has to be the C3, right? Yes, it's the C. Nope, there it is. Are there overlapping samples? That's weird. I guess I really need to take a look at that SFZ sample map. Oh my god, this is a headache. It does load the samples correctly, so there's that. One of these days, we really gotta invite Christoph Hart to our live stream, but he's super busy. Okay, I found this one. It's C2. And let's try the time stretch in here. Okay, time to break out the HISE documentation on GitHub, and if it doesn't work, we're gonna do it the hard way with a script. So it's coding time.
Coding.
Yes.
Yay.
The cool thing about the HISE documentation is that it's in Markdown files. So in those .md files. Let's go to here, and then HISE documentation. There it is. So we're going to HISE modules. Huh. That's weird. Why does it say 2 months ago? The time stretch docs were added on August 1. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It was the last time that this folder was touched in a commit.
So let's go to sound generators, list, streaming sampler. So blah, blah, blah. And there is time stretching. This is the added part. It has an inbuilt time stretching mode. Apparently not. It's using, oh, by the way, if you're interested, I can share this GitHub with you guys. Maybe in the future, this could be implemented in JSFX somehow.
This is from our friend Geraint Luff.
Oh, Gerard Love did. Oh my God, you're right. I had no
He
idea.
goes by Signal Smith on the web.
Oh, I didn't know. Maybe he could push this algorithm into Reaper's time stretching options. Maybe. Anyway, so like it says here, you can either adjust the stretch ratio using the slider on the sampler settings, which didn't work, or the scripting API call sampler.setTimeStretchRatio. Let's see. There is also a block of code below this, but first let's look at this thing. Nope, this is... Oh. Okay. This is an object, blah, blah. Oh, there it is, the setTimeStretchRatio. This will change that ratio, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Nothing weird here, but nothing helpful either. If it goes wrong again, I'm gonna make the simplest... Oh, wait. Wait, I think I know what's causing it. I think the time stretching is implemented when you export to HLAC. So maybe I'll have to... Oh, who is here?
Hello,
Cwits
guys.
is here.
Hello.
Hey, Cwits. Okay, I'm gonna try
Cwits.
one last thing.
So you cannot preview it. You can only run it when you export. Is that what this is?
Probably. Not you, when you export the plugin, but when you export the samples into HISE's in-house format, which is called HLAC. It's like FLAC, but H stands for heart.
Okay.
Sorry. But no, this is the sample editor, not the... God, this is getting more head spinning. But anyway, let's try this thingy. Fetch the current state. Constant variable object. Sampler get time stretch options. Print out all properties. Console print. Blah, blah, blah. So object skip latency true. There is no UI interfaces for these properties in HISE except for the mode. Instead, you will have to use the scripting API calls that query and set these properties from a JSON object. So do I have to actually save this in a .json format file?
No, that's not appropriate. This is not JSON. This is JavaScript. Or I guess H script?
It's HISE script, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's try copying and pasting it into the script editor. But okay, this is for the watch table. Create generic script reference. Oh, I did create one, apparently. And create typed simple script. Okay, I created two, I guess. I'm just throwing stuff in the wall. If I just paste this, oh nope, it pastes. Apparently, when you create that thing, it does in the map. Oh God, this is getting. Oh, I have to put something in this parenthesis. So I'm gonna use time stretch options. So I have to replace this thing. I have to input those four variables: mode, skip latency, num quarters, and tonality.
It's mildly annoying that the example doesn't work out of the box.
Yeah. So let's check mode. But how is the syntax? Do I write mode?
It's probably positional
No.
arguments.
Dot.
You probably just pass the arguments one at a time. separated by commas.
Okay.
I'm just
so
guessing,
I just
but
type, yeah.
this looks enough like JavaScript to make you want to do that. But at the same time, it's not like JavaScript because const var is not a thing in JavaScript.
Also, I guess I have to put it in quotes.
That stands to reason, yes.
Oopsie. Here we go. Voice start, skip latency false. Let's type false.
And
Then
this time
number-
stretching algorithm is supposed to be for effect, like the
Exactly,
time stretching?
that's the thing, yeah.
Okay.
My goal is to make those piano sounds stretched, like, but I want them to be stretched in tempo, not pitch. So I want them to keep. Now there it is. This value allows you to retain the timbre when using pitch transposition. So I guess the value should be 1.0. But anyway, let's type this 0.0, and then I'm gonna put 0.0 again just to test it. Compile. Damn it.
Yeah.
Too many arguments in API call. I gave you all the arguments you needed. Are you kidding me?
Well, now it's complaining about too many. Remove some.
Yeah. I gave voice art false.
But it is cool that it's checking all this at compile time.
Maybe this is wrong. Hold on, let's expand this view because this interface can get annoying. Oh, there's also zoom. That's nice. So blah, blah, blah. Should I first oh, wait. First, maybe I have to declare the sampler here and then compile. Nope, it doesn't like it. Voice.
It is written that it expects 0 arguments.
Oh.
Too
Yeah,
many
it
arguments
expects
in the
0, okay.
expected 0.
So should I just type 0 in here? And check compile?
I like the way you think, but no, it is 0 arguments as in no arguments at all. Not an argument that is a number 0.
So example is right.
Yeah, it appears to be, yeah. So can you remove all the arguments so we can see the error message again?
And maybe use sampler
It
1
says-
dot blah blah blah. Because your constant variable sampler 1 and you're referring to the sampler.
So I should add sampler 1 in here.
No.
Oh.
Before dot.
Oh, okay. Sampler 1, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so now the line 15 is this problem. Oh, fixed. Boom. Oh, it worked. So if we put those bajillion arguments, mismatch 4. It expected 0 and it got 4. Welp. So where are we supposed to put these? Oh, there it is. There it is. So do I replace OBJ with those options?
Well,
No,
not
that-
necessary. And besides,
Nope.
it's not positional arguments after all. It's an object argument. But you can see the options that were passed on the panel below. It says interface and then tonality, skip latency, mode.
Yeah.
Those are the
I can
arguments
see
that
them
were
here.
passed.
Oh, there they are.
So that object that you get from sampler 1.get time stretch options contains all those.
Yeah, but how do I open those brackets, those anchors?
Hang on, what are you trying to do now? Are you trying to change the options that are passed, or are you just trying to check if this script is going to do what you wanted it to do?
I want to set those. I want to change the tonality to 1, for example.
Okay, so on the next line, you can say obj.tonality equals 1.
Oh,
Like in line 13.
like this?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Does it compile? It does. Huh. It gets crackles. Maybe we did it. I don't hear the stretching, but hold on, let's go back to the sampler options.
The crackling sounds like dropouts from not
Yeah, the
processing
latency.
on time. Yeah.
There was like.
I've never been happier to hear crackles. Come on, show me. Oh no, that's not what I want to see. This is what I want to see. Okay, 85%. If I go away. Now the crackles are gone, but I don't hear something stressful. What if I put the tonality back to 0? So it destroys it. Oh, I put 1.1. Silly me. Compile. Okay, let's go back.
Try to put some crazy value, like 65. So.
65? Should I play 65 here?
Yeah, why not?
You mean in the time stretching?
In tonality.
Okay,
Maybe,
so 65.
And like change something and check how it will work.
Okay. Well, it doesn't. Let's check out the other options as well. And if not, I guess I'll just watch a lot of HISE tutorials again. Voice start seems to be... Oh, we can see the options. That's comforting. So voice start is enabled. What's num quarters? I forgot. Num quarters, it will skip. If this is not 0, it will skip the automatic detection of the sample length. Oh, that's in tempo sync. We're not using tempo sync. What if we disable the skip latency thingy? So obj.skip latency equals false. See, now I'm happy that I didn't watch the tutorials because it's easier. It's better when we solve these together.
And what about line 15?
Okay, what's about line? Oh God, you're right. That was already there. Boom. That sounds okay-ish. What if I play the plugin preview? Oh, I have to add like a keyboard on the... Oh God. If I change this, if I put it to disable, does it also happen in the... No, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. It does refresh. So we're getting somewhere. So if I place time variant, for example, and then click compile, we can see the time variant thing here again. And if I change the tonality to 0 and then compile, it didn't get it? Oh, yes, it did. So now what we have to do is, preferred engine. We didn't check that. Do we have engines?
Can I ask something?
Yes.
Is that code you are editing or applying all the time after compile? You press compile on the existing sampler? Because on the top I see that this is on init something.
Oh yes, you're right.
Maybe it is working only when you're initializing sampler, but I just assume, I don't know. I'm just assuming.
So I can take it on no tone. Oh, there's a different. Boom. Let's put it on not on. Oh, now it doesn't recognize because it says that, okay, so we can probably get this thing and put it on init.
That is setting a variable that is going to be used in the other block. I don't think it's going to be happy about that, is it?
No, it's not. In fact, I actually broke the sampler.
Well, but that answers the question. The code is running.
Mm-hmm. What will we have in the chat?
Oh, never mind that. Bo is saying that he is restarting.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do one last thing, and if it doesn't work, then we're gonna move on to some other theory stuff, because I want to talk a little bit about FM synthesis.
You put some extra brackets there, curly braces.
Oh, where?
There. When you copy and paste it to the other function in the back, you ended up copying and pasting more.
Okay, but now there are no. Oh, found the end of file. So now we have to add brackets.
That's no time.
Come on, what did I break again?
Because you took those brackets from the no-tone file, and there is no break. No.
Yeah. Oh, I should put the bracket here. I forgot what the bracket was.
It was in a... so remove the brackets from there, from line 7 and from line 19.
Okay.
Then go back to the other function that you were playing with. Yes, that. And put the brackets there. There. Exactly. Try again.
Boom. Okay, it works.
Okay, back to the working stage.
So, I guess I should try some different samples next time. Like maybe the is working, but we're not understanding it. But if so, we disabled the tonality. Okay, oh, I have one more idea. I'm gonna check that preferred engine, and I'm gonna see what the available options are. Capitalize.
Seems like that's a string.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. And lastly, we have time variant. If I change the code from here, obj.mode equals voice start, select compile.
I think that should be a string. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is a string. This is why I didn't get it. Boom. Come on. Just give me one pair. Okay. Oh. Oh, now the mode disappeared completely. What? Oh god, I broke it. It says mode, open brackets. But if I go to the sampler, oh, it says voice start. Huh. It gets weirder and weirder. Oh, I'm gonna try one last thing, and I'm actually going to do it 50%, the shortest, and then recompile. And oh, okay, the thing got back here in mode. Let's No, now Cortez isn't working.
The text is too small for me to read, but
Yes,
I believe that when it's printing, it's on line 9, it's saying one mode, and then on line 11, you are changing the mode. Is this what's confusing you?
No. No, what? Never mind. I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna post on the.
Never give up.
Okay, I'm gonna check on the forum. Oh, actually I have an account. No, I'm not a robot. I promise. Oh, come on!
Fotis, give up.
So there is a motorcycle. Yeah.
I always was confusing. Do you have to select all, even the smallest parts of the motorcycle?
I do
it. Yeah,
I never get that. It's just completely right. I think it's actually looking at your mouse movements and checking if you're a robot or not, because a robot is not
automated.
Yeah.
Oh, and you move your mouse like a robot, Bo?
Yes.
Actually, this is the whole principle
that's
of that.
my one and only skill.
Okay.
Yeah, because there is another captcha that all it has is a checkbox, nothing else. It doesn't give you a puzzle, and it measures your mouse movement and the time you take to click, your gesture, because all of these can't be faked yet by robots. So I guess the time stretching isn't finished, because otherwise David would have made a tutorial, and also Christoph would have made a thread, and I can find neither of those. So I guess this is still a work in progress thingy. Unless David knows something I don't, in which case I will message him. Speaking of messages, let's check out the Cocos forum about that JSFX problem, and with that highly self-deprecating thread title that I created. It's called "I Think I Broke JSFX." So this is the thing that got us stuck the other time. This is my code, and this is the original code. By the way, unfortunately, CHMAHA has disabled their private messaging function on the Reaper forum, so I cannot contact them. I used to be able, but not anymore. I don't know, maybe they got too many messages. Well, but they are still active on the forum, so fingers crossed. Oh, wait. Oh, I should have typed it in one word. Time stretching is pretty release. Okay, this doesn't work.
Okay, so maybe you can leave this as homework to figure out.
Yeah, this is my homework.
Yeah.
Now the other thing,
look at the forums, all of that.
Yeah. Sorry for dragging you guys into this, but at least we figured out a few stuff, and we confirmed that the script manager in HISE does get updated when you click compile, and you see the same variables, the same parameters in the GUI. So that's cool. We did something without the help of any tutorial. Way to go, team. And the last thing I wanted to talk about before I pass the torch is on an interesting subreddit I found that's called Synth Recipes. And Synth Recipes has a lot of settings and patches on for synth sounds that are famous. But I wanted to take a look at this to show you guys this thread that I found. So this person is talking about the basics of FM synthesis, and he's emulating the Yamaha DX7 and Vital. By the way, you can do it with free software like Dext. But the thing with Vital is that it gives you a bit more freedom. Plus, it has a prettier GUI than Dext. I hate Dext's GUI. I prefer using Native Instruments FM8 for DX7 presets. And also, I'm interested in purchasing plugs, OPS7, which is also a good clone. But anyway, I digress. So this is interesting. FM synthesizers don't actually perform frequency modulations. They modulate the phase. This is important to keep in mind because this is a diagram based on the Yamaha DX7 schematics. So A and B are usually oscillators, but Yamaha calls them operators. And A is the main sound, and B is the one that's modulating the sound. So you have the B is the modulator and A is a carrier. Does this sound familiar, the carrier modulator thing? Do you know where else those terms are used?
In broadcast television, for instance, and radio.
Good, but I'm talking specifically about plugins or hardware.
I don't know what you're going for there.
Okay, vocoders. So every vocoder uses a carrier and a modulator. So the carrier is usually your human voice, and the modulator is the synth that you use to convert your voice into a robotic voice. Anyway, so I'm gonna send you guys this link if you want to read it, because it has some interesting stuff. Now, until a certain part where it goes into Vital stuff. And today I did this thing, speaking of Vital. Also it has some more informations. Its second-hand price can buy you brand new microKORG. Oh my god, this book must be very expensive. So you should get it as a free PDF. But I found this person called Eric Bowman, and I joined his Discord server. This is my Vital. I used a skin I found online. A preset with colors, and I like it. It has this synthwave cyberpunk quality to it. Anyway, so Eric Bowman is not to be confused with the person who made E-Bomb's World, but I followed this tutorial to the letter on how to create the synth lead from the track BFG Division from the Doom soundtrack from 2016. And this is my I cannot play the original song, but you can listen to it in this video. Now, the thing I noticed when I followed his instructions is that I basically learned how to modulate those macros. The thing I learned is that he's using ultra fast modulators, like 0.001. Is that a millisecond?
That's a millisecond.
0.001 seconds. Is that a millisecond?
That's a millisecond.
Yes, a millisecond. Okay. So 1 millisecond. If I turn it up to say 15 seconds, it gets a very standard rave noise. But if you put it to just 1 millisecond, you can see on the visualizer how the thing is done. And this is called Perlin. If you're interested our friend Florian Murgala has created a plugin called Perlin, which allows you to modulate any parameter in your DAW with this algorithm. The other one is our beloved sample and hold, but again, he's using a very fast thingy. So if I turn it up, you can hear the pulsing, but now it's so short that you can't tell the difference. Actually, it reminds me of movies, like videos, where the sample rate, the frame rate is so high that you don't notice it. You just see a smooth movement. So it's nice that you can achieve this same illusion with sound. And I am studying all these principles because I want to keep working on that synthesizer of mine, that I talked about. And hopefully I will have it finished. This is going to be another homework. Hopefully I'll have it finished by Tuesday, 19th September. And the reason for that is because September is synth month, or Synthember. And creating a synth on Synthember is a goal for me. So everybody wish me luck.
You're gonna do
anyway, that's it. Thank you, guys. So that's it for my update. I'm gonna post those links so you can read those nerdy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tutorial. What else? Oh, and what else did I say?
Okay, while you were working on the
I forgot
links,
it.
thanks for the update. And let's move on to Cwits. What do you have for us?
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
That was it? Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
It was so fast.
Joking.
Fastest updater alive.
Now I keep working. Now I'm working on the file editor to be able to. Okay, in my previous version, there is editor, some kind of editor, but I want to make it kind of, I don't know, right? Not differently, but in the more compact way, something like that.
What do you mean by file editor? Do you mean editing the contents of like MIDI files?
Yeah, MIDI and audio as well.
Mm.
For example, in my previous version, I could edit audio files only from sampler. But sampler is a total different thing, and I need to separate editor and the sampler, for example. Yeah.
And you are doing destructive editing of MIDI and audio files.
Destructive? Not destructive.
Oh.
So you're like applying effects or splicing things and saving them to new files?
For now, no effects, but just basic copy paste, delete audio buffer parts, or whatever there is in audio file. For example, if I need to insert silence in the middle of the file, I can do it easily, and for example, or delete some part of the file, or copy and paste it, or reverse. Actually, this is the things I miss in Ableton, for example. Okay, to be honest, maybe I just didn't found them there. Maybe there is, but I didn't found them. At least from audio waveform editing from the push, not manually with the mouse and keyboard, but from the push. Maybe I was looking.
Sorry, Cwits. I'm loading the game, so whenever you guys are ready, we're gonna play when everybody's finished with the run update.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But regarding to that, couple days ago, I was asking in the Discord how to test For example, these copy-paste functions, delete functions, reverse functions, yeah, and the testing in general, because how testing happens, you compare the how it's called, not original but reference file to your file, right? When you're trying to test something.
Okay.
Or am I wrong? I don't know. But to like, for example, imagine I have some kind of audio file. Yes. I want to copy some part of it and insert in the different position, and want to test if the result is right, that that copied part is inserted in right position that I wanted and nothing moved to anywhere else and everything is in its belonging place. And to test it, I need some kind of reference file where those actions are done already. So the question is, how to get that reference file? Basically, what I've imagined to myself, maybe, that I need to do basically the same actions and use basically the same code for getting the reference file, but then there is no point in testing because I'm using exactly same code to get the. So I will get the same things in the end, and they will be equal. Yeah, if I will compare them.
Yeah.
And I
So
won't know
can
that.
you use something like FFmpeg to reproduce the changes and compare against that?
To be honest, I don't know. I didn't thought that far. And yeah, this is the thing I become till now. So I wanted to ask. I asked in Discord, but maybe I asked wrongly. I wrote wrongly, and nobody get my idea. But yeah, how to get the reference file, guys? Is there any ideas?
My idea is to try and reproduce the changes using FFmpeg and compare against that. Should be doable.
FFmpeg?
It's a command line utility for. It's a Swiss Army knife for any kind of media file. So in this case, audio files, and you can.
Fat milk powder?
Huh?
Fat filled milk powder. I just wrote in Google FFmpeg.
Oh no, it's FFmpeg.
Yeah.
Also, it's amazing, and I love it. I have like a bajillion bot scripts for FFmpeg, like for blah 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 extension, convert blah 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 to blah blah blah. So I put a bunch of files and then load the script, and boom, it converts everything. Like MP3 to OGG or OGG to FLAC and whatever.
Yeah.
Definitely should check on that. To be honest, didn't thought about.
So it's good for converting files, that's true, but once you get into the so-called filters, which is audio manipulation, you can do a lot, from splicing things, even applying effects. I don't think you're gonna go there, but you can use it for lots of things.
Yeah, like splitting stereo to mono or muxing to different channels. You did a lot of experiments with when you were doing data moshing, right?
Correct. Yeah, I use FFmpeg as as a tool that was looking at a video file as if it was audio and applying like a reverb switch. Yeah.
Also, a nice way to use FFmpeg for video effects is if you combine it with Avisynth or VaporSynth, which is cross-platform. So basically, you create a script that calls FFmpeg and uses it as a frame server, while VaporSynth is applying the effect you want, for example, a blur or something. But I digress. Sorry, Cwits.
No worries. If you want, guys, I can try to show you those things with my phone, but everything will be shaking because it is phone and things. Hello, Mama, I'm on YouTube.
Hello.
So, I don't know. Let's for example record some audio data if everything will work.
There is no way for me to make you big, so what I'm gonna do instead is just roughly
Are we going to
zoom
see
in.
the waveform on the screen?
I wonder if OBS is picking this up. I think it is.
Sorry, everything broke down. I don't know.
Ouch. That's not the first time this happens today.
Yeah. Again,
it's not the first
turning
time
on
it
the
happens
camera.
to me. There is fancy. Check this out.
Oh,
It's fancy rainbow while things loading.
did you code this rainbow LED
Yes.
sequence? Oh, amazing.
Yes. But it's not so fancy when you record it, but it's fancy when you
Yeah, I can tell. So if you record stuff, are we going to see the waveform on the pushes screen?
Yes, of course, but you won't see it while it is recording because I didn't done it, but when it's finished, you will see it.
Maybe.
Mama, I'm YouTube. Here it is.
There it is. There's the waveform.
Mama, I'm YouTube.
Maybe Leandro could give you some of his discrete Fourier transform knowledge on how to make that waveform appear in real time when you record.
No, those are two different things. I used FFTs, but that was not for waveform display. And I did a lot of work on waveform displays as well. Seems like Cwits has discovered, though.
It's
it just doesn't happen in real time when you record.
Yeah, I need to work on that either, but it's not the main thing right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool so far.
So we can select this file and go to the editor. Sorry, it is not showing the filling of the waveform. Wait a second, maybe I can make it brighter. I hope push won't burn. Yay!
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So bright. So I can, for example, I like this part of the audio file. I can copy it and place somewhere here.
Sweet.
Place somewhere here, and a lot of times. And it will sound like this.
It's looping. Sweet. You've worked on this for like a year, right?
It is second year right now.
Second year. Wow.
So okay, for example, I don't like this part. I can delete it. I can reverse things.
Oh, you have all the functions from Ableton Live Sampler. Wow, man.
Is it? Yeah. Why it is not playing?
It's a hidden satanic message.
Kind of.
Satan is in your Ableton push.
And as well, I can reverse them as many times as I want. Yeah. And there's okay. Let's copy this silence, for example.
Oh, do you also do
what sounds-
normalize?
No, not
Okay.
sure about that.
It just calculates the loudest sample in your waveform, and then it boosts the whole waveform based on that peak,
Yes.
or attenuates.
Yes.
Oh no, just normalize is a thing that most DAWs have. When you want to, even Audacity has it. When you want to normalize a waveform, it calculates where the loudest part in a waveform is, right? That's the basic normalization. It calculates where is the loudest part, and then it makes the whole waveform louder or quieter to bring it to the level you want.
Oh no, I don't have that thing. Sorry to disappoint you guys.
It's okay. You've gone so far. You can add normalization. It should be pretty cool. Anyway, Ableton should hire you, so you can work on push 4. You know that push 3 is broken, right? They need someone to help them.
What do you mean?
Really?
Yeah, apparently push 3 has a lot of bugs, and they're still working on them at the usual slow pace that Ableton is doing everything.
No way.
Meanwhile, Bitwig already bumped from version 5.0 to 5.0.6 in like a couple of months. And Ableton is taking like a year for a simple update.
No, nothing works right now.
Everything is
because-
simpler from the outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I'm now missing the first one, that green line. There is something moving, but there is no that green line. I don't know why.
I like that it says the specific sample, the specific, should I say timestamp or sample stamp?
It is sample stamp.
Yeah, it's sample stamp, yeah. That's a nice function.
Something still.
But it broke.
Yeah, something.
Everything
As
breaks
always.
Oh, it woke up.
But it still sounds. That's the thing. Can I can't mute this track, but okay, I can like this. But for example, I didn't try it with different files. Let's select this one. Yeah, it is here. But that there is still no that green line. Why? No, I can't see anything. In the original, it sounds like too quiet. Yeah. Like some music.
Lo-fi.
Yeah. Let's reverse, for example, the first part. And the funniest thing right now that all these functions are capable to work while it is playing. I hope so. Let's try.
Real-time editing.
Yeah, it's working. I was trying to achieve these things specially because it is more fun to work in real time and it's more fancy, I assume.
Did you run into any particular challenges when making this real time?
What kind of challenges?
Well, was there anything particularly different about doing it in real time?
Difficult question. I can't answer it.
You can just say no, everything was easy because I'm the best programmer in the universe.
Nothing was easy, of course, but I don't know. To be honest, there is nothing that much difficult specifically to the real-time editing, because I was just writing code and it works like it works, and I didn't have the versions that work only in not in real time and the version that works in real time.
Okay.
So somehow like that. I hope I answered your question, Leandro.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that you want to show?
But still, there is question how to. For example, I use that reverse function, and how to check if that function worked properly. Like sample in sample, how to get that reference file. That's the good question for me. I will obviously check that FFmpeg.
That's your homework.
Yeah, you should definitely be able to reverse a file, and you can throw it in any DAW and reverse and re-render, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it have to be. So okay, I can do it in the DAW, but for example, in Reaper, I didn't saw option how to do that on specific samples.
Reverse.
Like on my, for example, I want to reverse from the 0 sample till the 500 sample.
Oh, you
And
just
then compare them.
You have to cut the item into 500 samples, and then right-click on the 0 to 500 portion and click item properties, and then reverse.
Yeah, split the item, reverse the part that you want to reverse, and glue it back together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it is an option. Didn't thought about that. As well, I want to do some crossfades when I'm pasting copied buffers, because otherwise it will be some clicks appearing here, there, and it is not so good. So yeah,
do you know
something
the formulas for crossfading? Because there are different ways of doing the fade, and the linear is the most straightforward, but it doesn't sound right in some contexts, in most contexts, and you want to do an exponential fade.
If you guys remember, my previous versions contained the fades, fade in and fade out. So somewhere it is. I have to find just those formulas. And the other was different kind of formulas, not only linear, but something similar to the Reaper. But I could manipulate curve as well. Like move it to the top or move it to the totally the bottom and things.
Very cool, and I'm not surprised that you have this already.
Thank you. So yeah, the basically main file is not affected, and the original stays original. But right now I can't save it in any way. There is no save function right now or render function. It is.
Maybe you could record what you're doing, or like Bespoke Synth does it. Maybe you could create a function that records everything you do in a temporary buffer, and when you are satisfied with your jam session, for example, you can click write audio and it saves everything you've done into a file.
Will it be very large buffer?
You can set it up. You can set the time. For example, there is an option in Bespoke, because Bespoke doesn't give you the option to render a part of audio. It only renders what you have done so far. So you can toggle it to record the last 30 minutes of you jamming with Bespoke. So all of this is sampled in a buffer, in a temporary buffer, and then it's flushed once you press save. I don't know if it makes sense.
To be honest, I have similar behavior right now, because when I'm recording anything from microphone, it is flushing to the file from time to time.
Oh, sweet.
Because otherwise you can't record infinitely. For example, you press record and it records for 2 hours. Yeah, there will be just a large file instead of large buffer and running out of memory and things. So yeah, something like that. Slowly working, trying to make some things. Thank you.
Yeah,
Really
it
cool
was a
stuff,
great
yeah.
update.
Yeah.
Much better than mine.
Cool stuff.
To be honest, that editor I've done in the past couple of days, because all previous week I was procrastinating and playing video games with my friend.
Not bad. Not bad.
But to be honest, I had most of the code already in my previous version of so I basically copy paste and slightly adjust things and make it more safe, I will say.
Okay. So
Sweet. Good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done.
I'm always impressed with what you do in Cwits.
Yeah.
It has another, how to say that, where is translator? Another side as well. It is always have another side of the story.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, like I'm trying to do a lot, but
we're all trying to do our best, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Bo, what's up in your world?
Well, let's start by sharing a screen. You see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I continued my work on the I don't remember the name of it, but I was trying to make a plugin that to put on buses that would have a foreground function and a background function, and I wanted a kind of smoothing. And I don't remember if I've talked about this one, but this is sort of a new way of smoothing things, which also happens to be a kind of distortion thingy. So what it does is, if you can you read the code, you get what it sort of means.
Let's see. You are defining a sample mulch. I suppose it's a multiplier, and then you are checking if it is, so hang on, a sample SPL0, it is going to be between -1 and 1 ideally, if it's not clipping. So 1 minus dash is going between 0 and 2, I want to say.
Not quite.
1 minus 1 is 0, and 1 minus -1 is 2. So then, yeah, it goes between 0 and 2.
Yes.
And then you're checking if it is below 0, which would be, if it's clipping, then you chop it off. And then on the last line, this looks like, it is a low-pass filter. One pole low-pass filter.
Exactly. And the low pass, so the idea is that the low pass changes with the incoming sample level. So the higher the sample level, the more it low passes.
Okay.
deafening enthusiasm.
Just trying to understand. Why?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I think it might be a novel idea. I'm not sure. But as I was this is what I've come up with so far. So it's basically like 3 lines of code since the last time, which was like a month ago, I guess. 6 weeks. At any rate. So what happens is it clips once it gets to 1, it starts clipping one part of the waveform. And what I can do is add a square root to that in order for it to clip both sides. So that's what's happening. So the idea is to sort of push this formula into a level of clipping. Now, one somewhat unexpected thing with this is it doesn't alias. I'm kind of surprised that it doesn't, but it's so my tests so far. I've only been doing tests with the oscilloscopes and oscillators, but no audio testing. But it seems it's a distortion that doesn't alias, as far as I can tell, which is surprising, to say the least. If I push it like further up, no aliasing.
You're getting into your Chris from our Windows face.
Yes, my my Air Windows face. That's a good one.
Is it because of the low pass filter?
Yeah.
Low pass filter is
probably
like
that's the one.
Anti-alias filter in this case.
Yeah. So exactly. So the peaks aren't getting sharp enough for it to alias. But it exhibits that distortion like a sort of squaring a sine wave characteristic. And I have yet. So I coded this. I've been harboring this idea in my head for quite some time, and I coded it yesterday. Hence me not getting any further in it. So that's basically what I've been doing. But at this, the plan is to have this go into the background foreground thingy, and have one part of the wave being processed. So the upper part, either the upper part or the lower part, and have one set of processing on the upper part and one set of processing on the lower part. And Chris, getting you back to Chris here, his latest release was quite interesting. The Sweden, plugin that strictly adds one harmonic. I have no idea how that sound kind of happens. I know how the code works and what it does to the waveform, but I need to check what if it actually just adds one harmonic. That sounds weird, but maybe it does.
The reason why he did it is because of his previous plugin Inflamer, which is his version of the Oxford Sonox Oxford Inflator.
Inflator,
Yeah, Inflator. And the reason why he did it is because Chris found a YouTube video of somebody who recreated the same algorithm using Melda's wave shaper. So it's pretty easy to make on your own. So if I can find that video and send it to you, maybe you can figure it out.
A thread on the repo forum where they copied it, because there's a like sample for sample copy of a JSFX version of the inflator. Or the Sonox version.
I'm gonna look it up.
But so that's the plan.
Paul Third did it.
I can sharpen the square wave by squaring, or the resulting square wave by squaring the sample that's going into the formula, which is also interesting. So I can change the characteristics of the distortion. So that's my bit.
That's interesting. I want to see where that goes.
Yeah, I want to check how it sounds. I want to sort of continue working on it and see how it sounds, what it sounds like. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you guys want to play with harmonics, today I found a browser-based synth on GitHub. Oops, that's the code. The website where you can play with this one. This is a synthesizer that you can play with your computer keyboard or with a MIDI keyboard if you have it connected to your browser. And basically it has a few sliders and you can fool around with odd and even harmonics in order to learn how additive synthesis works. And it's simple but fun. It's like Chebyshev in a way, but yeah. And here is the Paul Third video where he describes how he recreated the Sonox inflator in Melda. So I guess this wave shaping is what does the second harmonic trick. So you can check out how it sounds for yourself.
I should mention that all the links that Fotis is mentioning, he's sending on this Skype chat, and I'm going to put them in the repository for this study group. It's linked in the description.
Sweet.
Okay.
And also on the GitHub, the study group GitHub, you're posting the links there as well.
Yeah. The GitHub repository with the meeting notes is linked down in the description right now, and it will be updated after the meeting is over. And I also copy and paste the links to the description as well. Right. So
what's up with you, Leandro?
Yeah, so let's talk about what I have been working on. So I have three things. The first is I want to pitch a project. The second is I want to share a little script I wrote that has nothing to do with audio, but it is fun. And the third is I want to write a solution to one of the Project Euler problems to do some C++.
Yes.
So first, I want to pitch a project. The project is to do EWI, an electronic wind instrument, a MIDI controller. And I want to use, first of all, a little microphone module. I found these microphone modules that cost like €5, and it's a little electric microphone already hooked to a preamp and a whole driver circuit. So it's very easy to use. You just give it 5 volts and you get an audio signal. And I'm going to connect that to a microcontroller. I'm going to use the Raspberry Pi Pico because I want to play with the Raspberry Pi Pico. I have used the Arduino in the past and I want to see what the Pico is capable of doing. And I will connect a bunch of buttons, and I want to do capacitive buttons because when you are playing, I don't think it would be very ergonomic to have push buttons. So I'm going to do some capacitive buttons, and I'm going to connect the Pico to the computer and use the MIDI library to send MIDI messages to the computer via USB. So yeah, it's a project that I want to play with. I want to get back to the electronics parts of things. So it seems like a relatively straightforward thing to do, and it sounds like fun. And I have very little experience with wind instruments, so I'm not sure I'll be able to play the instrument all that well, but it sounds like a fun build. Sounds relatively straightforward, and the thing that I'm most interested in is working with, I think the way to do it is going to be with aftertouch, right? Because I want to change the intensity of the note after note on. So I think I will need to be sending a bunch of aftertouch messages, but I have never worked with anything that uses that. So it will be new to me.
Is this an existing Has anyone done this before, using the microphone for sort of tracking wind, what your sort of mouth?
I just posted something in the comments.
There are plenty of builds already.
Okay.
Yeah, the difference is that, well, number one, I'm going to be using the Raspberry Pi Pico. I don't think that many people use that. Most people are
No,
using
this guy is
Arduinos.
using the Raspberry 4, the one I posted.
Okay.
All right, cool.
And I want to use the Raspberry Pi Pico because you can use Python with it. And Python it's different for me. I don't have a lot of experience with Python. But it should be fun and approachable. That's the promise anyway with the Pico. So yeah, looking forward to trying that out.
Yeah, but why? Why do you want to use Pico? I don't understand. No, that's a genuine question.
Well, for the curiosity of trying something different. Because it is inexpensive.
Never ask that question. Why? Why?
And it has lots of GPIO.
Because code.
It is quite fun, the idea. I did some research on this. The idea behind how the capacitive buttons work, it's quite fun. What they do is they send a signal, like imagine like a pulse, or even just a step. Imagine just a step. So you send the step and you read it back. If the step is very sharp, then you are not touching the capacitive button. If you are touching the capacitive button, then your body works as a capacitor. So it smooths out that sharp edge. So instead of having a sharp edge, you end up having like a curve. And you measure the...
But why do you want to use microphone instead of some air pressure sensor?
The air pressure sensors that I could find were a bit more expensive and more difficult to find.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it was going to be pretty much the same, I think.
Bo, now it's your turn to ask something that begins with "but why?"
How so?
But why?
But why?
Why not, right?
Exactly.
There is a fun forum game that's called "But Why?" And one poster says something and the other poster must reply with "but why?" and then explain what the previous poster did in one of those forum games.
Yeah.
What's this?
So that's the project, and I will give you an update in 2 weeks.
Amazing.
It would be fun to make, I think.
So did you get your material already, or
The only thing that I
electronics
don't
and stuff?
have already is the microphone module, but I found it in a store nearby, so I'll go and pick it up at some point.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Will you use some PVC pipe for the case?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I was thinking of perhaps just using a cheap recorder and put the buttons on the holes or something, or I don't know, maybe pipe or just a block of wood with a hole. I don't know. Haven't gotten that far yet.
Nice.
Yeah, but overall the cost of this project is gonna be, I want to say 15 euros, and an IWI can cost 400. The Akai IWI costs 400.
Can you recycled some of the old electronic stuff you got?
Yeah, no, I already have a Raspberry Pi Pico, or 3 of them, and the capacitive buttons are probably gonna be, I don't know, it depends on the construction, but if it's wood, it can be like screws, or if I use some PVC, it may be like just strips of aluminum foil.
When it's done, can I create a design with a cute animal playing a wind instrument?
Yeah.
That should be my thing.
Yeah. So that is my pitch. then the script that I wrote, it is kind of ridiculous, but I want to share it. So you all know that I like Hammerspoon, which is a tool for configuring things and automating things in macOS. And my latest invention is these lines of code. And I need to talk about this because it's so fun. What happens is that I find it difficult to clean the keyboard on my laptop because there is no way of turning it off. If you turn it off and then you hit any key or you touch on the trackpad or you, I don't know, talk too loud at your computer, it's going to turn back on. And then when you're trying to clean the keyboard and you're pressing a bunch of keys. And how annoying is that, right? So what these lines do is they define a keyboard shortcut that is difficult to punch by accident. And then when it does that, it starts this event listener that swallows all the key presses. So the keyboard stops working, except for that combination of keys that enables the keyboard again, because it stops the event listener.
My God, this is so brilliant and hilarious at the same time.
And there is an app that does exactly this.
Oh.
But, yeah, it's called Keyboard Cleaner something. But, I mean, why install a whole app if you can do it with 10 lines of Lua?
You basically invented the chainsaw that you can use to slice bread with. Instead of buying an actual chainsaw.
Yeah, and then I wrote the script, and after I was done with it, I was happy. I did not clean my computer. The keyboard continued dirty. The next day, I cleaned the computer, and while cleaning the bezel around the screen, I broke the bezel. So maybe it was a bad idea after all to try and get the computer cleaned.
All right.
Leandro, is there any backup plan in the case if one of the keys, the disabling that script stops working?
You know, I thought about this because if the keyboard stops working, or I mean, if you cannot get out of that mode. So in other words, if I had a bug in the code in these lines, what would happen, I thought? Well, I still have the mouse. I thought about including here the list. This is a list of events that I am listening to. So I'm listening to any key down event and to any system-defined event, which is like increasing the brightness on the screen or changing the volume or something. So these are the system-defined events. But I thought about including the mouse as well, and it would disable the trackpad, which could be interesting. But then I thought, hang on, what happens if I have these lines wrong? Well, I can always press the shutdown button, and that's going to restart the computer. That's all right. But Hammerspoon is in the logging items. It is an app that starts as soon as the computer boots. So it would run these lines again and lock me out again. So rebooting wouldn't be an option. To answer your question, I don't know. I don't know how I would recover if these lines had a bug in them. I think that if you start macOS in recovery mode, it doesn't start the logging items. Yeah. So I could edit the file.
Like safe mode.
It's like safe mode. But I haven't tested, so maybe I could lock myself out of the computer, which would be terribly silly. I don't know. But the keyboard is clean now, so I'll go.
Plug in an external keyboard?
No, that doesn't work. I am using an external keyboard right now. Yeah,
is
there installing all the events.
Is there a variable which says something on startup kill all something on a reboot that you have a command for if the computer reboots to this in Hammerspoon?
Oh, right. Yeah. No, so the way that the script is written, on a reboot, this would not run because I would need to run this key binding to actually run this. So if I had just like this, then it would start as soon as the script loads. And that would be the issue. That would be an issue. So I guess perhaps on safe mode it wouldn't load, but I don't want to find out. And I left the mouse working because I can always stop Hammerspoon with just the mouse.
Does the what's it? Command Alt Escape, the sort of the kill application, does that override Hammerspoon? The Hammerspoon
True,
script?
yeah. The question is, you are probably right. I know that on Windows, Control Alt Del is a key combination that is not catchable via software. You cannot listen to it like that. So maybe, I don't know. I don't want to find out though, because the script is working and my computer is clean and the bezel is broken, but it is clean.
You could run the script and try the kill. What the fuck is it called?
Oh, it's Command Option and Escape, right? To force quit an application.
Command Alt Escape, isn't it?
Yeah, Command Option or Alt and Escape. True. So now I'm activating my key binding, and my keyboard is no longer working. And then, nope. Command Option Escape does not work.
Oh
my God! You broke macOS. You broke macOS.
It's back. It's back. Yeah, I was developing. There is a part of my script that shows a little keyboard shortcut indicator here on the top of the screen when I am using my full setup, which is not my webcam and the built-in microphone. When I'm using my real microphone, you're seeing this, but you're not hearing it. When I am streaming with my full setup, I have a little indicator here for the keyboard shortcuts that I am using, which is useful for people who are watching and they want to see what keyboard shortcuts I'm using, like Visual Studio Code or something. Whatever. So yeah, I wrote I wrote in Hammerspoon something that catches all the keyboard presses and displays the keyboard shortcuts here on the top. While I was developing that, I was playing around with the drawing functions in Hammerspoon, and you can draw a black rectangle around your whole screen. So some people draw translucent rectangles to decrease the brightness below the lowest setting. For instance, when you're reading in the dark. So some people do that. What if if you just draw a black screen on top of your computer? I guess you would need to do this recovery mode and hope that Hammerspoon doesn't start. All right, yeah. So in summary, don't drink in Hammerspoon because you may break your computer
and lock you out.
And what if one of the keys breaks as you're cleaning it, not just your bezel? That's another.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, don't do it. Play it safe, people. This is some dangerous code here.
Oh yeah.
Have an external keyboard handy. A second one.
But that's it. It doesn't work, right? Because it's getting the key binding, the key presses, not the hardware interruption. I'm not even sure. This is a question I have, actually. I wonder if I can select events based on which keyboard I am using, or if all the events merge before they get to Hammerspoon. I haven't checked that. It's actually something that I'm interested in finding out.
Could you have? Did you mention any mouse movements or any sort of mouse pressing that you get? You could have like an interface or a GUI where you press a certain using the trackpad or a mouse.
Yeah, you can do that in Hammerspoon.
In case the keyboard locks up.
Yeah. No, it's not gonna happen, people. It's not gonna happen. It's all right. I haven't locked myself out yet. Okay, do you want to move on to the third thing?
Euler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should we do the ChatGPT version?
ChatGPT. Yeah. By the
We're
way,
gonna
Bo,
finish
did you?
before I start.
Did you watch the one when you were missing? I played the bow part, but instead of using ChatGPT, I used H2O GPT, which is horribly outdated. And 5 out of the 6 robots came up with the wrong answer.
Yeah,
So I had to use ChatGPT 3.5 because I haven't bought 4 yet. You're paying for ChatGPT 4,
yeah,
right?
I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
Microsoft owns my ass.
You know that H2O GPT is free.
But
Wow.
it's outdated. And
And it's updated, but it's free. Also, it doesn't keep your data, so there's that. It's less creepy.
So which Euler problem? Problem?
9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
And after that, can we play signal
C++?
state, or is it too late?
Yeah, we are using C++. And what did you say, Cwits?
No, it was me. After we solve the Euler problem, can we play signal state, or is it too late?
Oh, I want to play. All
Okay.
right, so let's try and get this. Special Pythagorean triplet. A Pythagorean triplet is a set of 3 natural numbers, a, b, and c, such that a is less than b and b is less than c, for which a squared plus b squared equals c squared. For example, 3, 4, add up to, 5. Good enough. There exists exactly one Pythagorean triplet for which a plus b plus c equals 1000. Find the product a times b times c. Okay. This is a small enough number that I think we'll be able to brute force this yet again. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to brute force this to begin with. So I will have a for loop, and a is small enough that it fits in an integer. And I want to go up to 1000, which is a bit ridiculous, I admit, because then if a is 1000, then b and c are necessarily 0, but never mind that. And then rinse and repeat for b and c. Then I will rule out any combination of a, b, and c that doesn't add up to 1000. So a plus b plus c equals 1000. And then I need to check that it is a Pythagorean triplet. And a... Is this a C++ thing? Can I do this in C++? Oh, this is JavaScript. No, I cannot do that. And this is probably XOR, so I think I would just do a times a plus b times b equals c times c. Well, since we are here to learn C++ exponential operator, is there one? I could use the power function. I will. So I will need to include C math. I don't know. I'm including some C stuff here. Okay. So if this is interesting. Visual Studio Code is doing this autocomplete, or not autocomplete, but this hinge thing here that gives me the name of the argument, even positional argument. So this is just a hint. It's not code. I can skip my cursor right over this. But because it's doing this hinge, this equation looks even worse now, but whatever, I'll take it. So if that and it is a Pythagorean triplet, then I want to print A times B times C. And I will also return right then and there, because I don't need to keep searching after I have found my answer. So yeah, that is my program. Let's first test this with this example that we have. So 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 12. So I will test with the number 12, and the product is 12 times 5, 60. So I expect the program to print 60.
To be honest, I'm not sure that C++ works good with the nested loops and ifs without braces, but let's see.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that this works. It's C. It's C syntax. Should work. Oh, I am in the wrong directory. Okay, it printed 0. Interesting. Let's print A, B, and C. And then I will need to print a new line as well, so I'll need to learn how to print a new line in C++.
std and loop.
Okay. Is this right? It wants parentheses. No, parentheses is not right. It looks like this, right?
Yep.
Okay. Huh. Well, strictly speaking, I guess it is right, so let's change this to 1. Okay, 3, 4, and 5, and 60. Good. So I can remove these lines, and I can change this back to 1000. And run this. And just like that, in almost no time, and since we learned how to put a new line there, just like that, in almost no time, we got one answer. Is it the right answer, though? Yes, it is the right answer. So yay! We solved another problem. We learned how to print new lines. We learned that there is not an exponential operator in C++. We learned that these hints in Visual Studio Code are not always ideal. And we learned that we do not need extra braces. It is a matter of taste. If you have a single expression, no, if you have a single statement, under a for loop, you don't need a block, so you don't need the curly braces. All right, I'll run this again for funsies. Now let's see what ChatGPT has. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, this is very similar. It is doing nested loops all the same. It is clever in the way that it's not looping to find C. Instead, let's put the solution side by side. So I am just doing the naive thing and finding C and then, or coming up with all possible C's and then filtering out the ones that don't end up to 1,000. But here it's computing C based on A and B. So if C is 1,000 minus A minus B, then for sure A plus B plus C is going to be 1,000. Clever. Then this is wrong. There should be some multiplication signs here. I'm not. Oh, no, it's right. It's Skype. Skype is bolding this text.
Ouch.
Okay. So I will put the multiplication signs there. Skype is interpreting this as please bold A plus B, but that's not what we want, of course. So yeah, then it's printing the triplet and it's printing the product, and again it's missing the stars, but that's not ChatGPT's fault. So, and it's also stopping the program early. This is remarkably similar to what I came up with. A bit cleverer, but now the question is, does it make a difference in terms of performance that we are not naively looping to find C and filtering it out? Let's do the bitch. I will run my program a couple times, and I would argue that on average, this is 0.6, this is 0.3. Let's say that on average it's 0.4. It does make a difference. Instead of 0.4, it's 0.004, so it's like 2 orders of magnitude faster. That's fascinating that just this optimization makes it 2 orders of magnitude faster. Huh. Fun stuff. Good job, ChatGPT. You optimized the program from almost half a second to a blink of an eye.
Wow.
Well, a blink of an eye is like 200 milliseconds. So much faster than a blink of an eye.
We solved it.
Okay, so that's what's up in my world. And the homework is gonna be the EUE.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. Doing some hardware stuff.
Also, you could implement some MPE stuff. And there is a nice code for contact called Whips. It's a script that works with MIDI wind controllers. So maybe if you could implement the support for that, that would be lovely. But let's keep that for when you actually build this thing.
But hang on, MPE is about blending notes, right? Or playing notes in between, right?
Not just that. It allows you to, basically every note has its own MIDI channel, and it allows you to do sliding and pressuring and stuff that you can't do with regular MIDI messages.
Well, I don't need any sliding because you cannot play notes in between.
No, but you can do some vibrato that could sound a bit more natural.
Is that what's in MIDI 2.0?
Yeah, MIDI 2.0 has been a bust for the past couple of years. We're still waiting on that. But yeah, MIDI 2.0 supposedly will feature MPE. But yeah, they've been postponing it for so long. There's a fun article by Deadmau5 who calls MIDI an 80-year-old format, and he prefers using OSC. And it would have been so much better if companies had implemented OSC. If they had moved if they had moved on to OSC instead of MIDI. By the way, Leandro, you could use OSC on your thingy. Anyway, I digress. So, are you guys ready for round 2 of the signal state?
Yes, let's play.
Bo wasn't here in the previous meeting, so I'll explain. The signal state is a game that I own on Steam, and it's a modular synth-based puzzle game with a post-apocalyptic setting where you basically create machines in order to save the world. And on the way there, you learn how modular synths work.
Okay.
And each level is a puzzle that we have to solve with modules. Here are the modules. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is level 6, I think. Yeah, it's called firmware programmer. So source 2 is a binary signal. When it is at 100 volts, send source 1 to out 1. Otherwise, send 0 volts. So we have a VCA, a summer, a splitter, bias, and attenuator. So we have to probably use one of these two babies on the VCA. So first of all,
I guess source 2 goes to CV.
Mm-hmm. And source 1 goes to in.
Goes to
do we have?
And
we
is
have
this for real?
modulators.
Is modular synth? Are modular synthesizers using 100 volts for anything?
Good question.
Because that sounds wacky.
That sounds nuts.
Maybe they exaggerated it just for the game.
Okay.
Because you're not supposed to create a modular synth in the game. You're making a bunch of machines on the garage of the game's protagonist.
Okay, yeah, that's what I would do if I had only one day left before Earth explodes. I would play with some modular synths, sure.
Yeah. Also, there is a storyline with a villain who wants to steal your stuff, and also some outsiders that you help in your barn, and 2 people who help you. Also, there is this lady. If you are stuck, you can get messages from her. Should be simple enough. You only need one. I'm not gonna click this again. Let's use it without.
But it's very
hints.
clever. I have never thought about using a VCA as a logic gate. Fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. If we check it, oh, I solved it already. So, you see, so if I figure that out correctly, sometimes, if you can see the time steps, not the time hovering the mouse, sometimes it's giving you 0 volts, other times it's giving you 100 volts. And so this is why it's called the binary signal. Anyway, we solved this, and it was a good transition for Bo because he hasn't seen the previous stuff.
I did check the
Replay, yeah.
The replay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, the modular sync using 12 to 24 volts for powering, or something like that.
Yeah, sending
Yeah,
100
makes
volts
sense.
to a module should fry it, I think.
Now let's go to power regulator, which oddly segs into what we were talking about just now. Regulation of volts. Source 2 and source 3 are binary signals. When they are both at 100 volts, also, we're going to be using
We need an
some
AND
math.
gate.
An AND gate, yeah.
So I guess we put two VCAs in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Connect source 1 to the input of the first VCA, source 2 to the CV of the first VCA, the output of the first VCA into the input of the second, then source 3 into the CV of the second VCA, and the output to the output. Ha! So cool!
Solved it. Amazing. I wanted to play this game with you guys because you could explain to me the theory behind these things, like the gates and stuff. And yeah, it makes a whole lot more sense now. Because even if I figure out some puzzles on my own, either through brute force.
I bet I know what the next one is. It's going to be an OR gate, I suppose. So you have to put two VCAs in parallel and use a summation module. Sum module.
It's called logic test.
Because it's teaching us how to do logic gates with expensive gear, right?
Yeah, in the previous live stream you were saying how much money is the protagonist spending on all these machines.
Well, the world is going to end, so that's all right. Oh, they give us modules for logic gates now. Great.
So, yeah, we don't have a VCA. Oh, yeah, we have AND, OR, and NOT. So, if source 1 and source 2 are both 100 volts, send 100 volts to out 1. Otherwise, send 0 volts to out 1.
Okay, so out 1 is the result of an AND gate.
So, we're going to do a split because we're going to do multiple stuff, right?
Correct.
So, let's split. Should I split both sources? Just to be safe. So in the first one, we have an AND gate, like this. And yeah, it works. The first one. Yeah, we fixed the first one. Now let's make an OR gate. If source 1 and slash OR. So we do this, I guess.
Yeah, and there is something interesting that it's a language quirk. When we say OR in English in general, we mean exclusive OR. As in, is it going to rain or be sunny? It's either or. It's not going to be raining and sunny at the same time. Most often. But in programming and in logic gates and in this, when we say OR, we mean inclusive OR. That's why they wrote AND slash OR. I find that interesting.
Now we have to create a NOT. Do I have to split this? Or sum? Because a NOT only has one input. So we have to do something to create a NOT. If source 1 and source 2 are both at 0 volts, send 100. Otherwise, send 0.
Yeah, that is the result of the first output. So
I'll split this one.
AND gate, yeah, split that one.
Be right back, guys.
Okay. Like this?
Yeah.
Nope. We did something wrong on this third one. We need to compare the second source as well. Because we need to have... Oh, maybe we could do a sum. Because it says if both of them are 0.
It's not... We don't want to split the result of the AND. We want to split the result of the OR.
Oh, okay.
The logic is that if source 1 and source 0 are both at 0, it means that neither are at 1.
So I'd split them. That should work. Yep, we fixed it. Oh, it feels good to save the world, one module at a time. Okay, a couple of more.
And I was right, though. The next exercise was an OR gauge.
Yeah.
It's just that we didn't do it with DCAs.
The following stuff. Oh, this is also a simple one, but I think from the 10th one onward, it gets a lot more complicated. And this is where I will definitely.
In the chat, guys.
Sorry?
There is one question in the chat. John Matthews asking.
John Matthews took him.
How can I monitor the CPU the @JFX section takes in JSFX?
Interesting question. And hello, what is up?
Hey, John.
So, I don't think there is any direct measurement for this, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that even in there is a performance monitor in in Reaper that tells you how much CPU each effect is using, and even there, I think it only takes in account the CPU of the audio portion of the plugin. I'm not sure about this, but I am almost sure about this. Let's see.
So this is we have the minimum and maximum.
Performance meter is what I'm talking about, and this will show the CPU use in each effect you have. But yeah, it's showing the CPU of the audio processing, I think. The way to test this is to do something really CPU intensive on the GFX, but not do any audio processing at all and see if this is still 0%. I think it will be, but if this doesn't show it, then I don't know. The way that I tended to answer this was visually. If I saw it lagging, it was, not doing well. But yeah, unfortunately, there isn't like a super satisfying answer.
One channel you can reach out to is askjf.com.
Yeah, you can talk to the source.
Which is a direct connection with Justin Franco. So askjf.com. He might be able to.
Or maybe Schwa. That's how it's pronounced, right? The other Reaper guy.
Schwa.
Schwa.
So that's asking in the forum, I guess. But
yeah, you go straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that Justin is a horse, but whatever. I just wrote in the notepad JSFX without GFX is like VST without GUI.
Yep. Okay, now source 1, source 2, and source 3 are random signals. Out 1 receives the greatest signal value of the 3 source signals, and out 2 receives the smallest. Okay. And
we have min and max.
Then we have new modules for minimum and maximum. How convenient. The only quirk is that they only take 2 inputs, and we need to do that to 3 inputs.
So we split.
Yeah, we'll need a splitter. That's right.
But do we have to split all 3 of those? Or we could do it in a more elegant way? Like only splitting the 2 of the 3, and then comparing the stuff to 3, like this.
I think that there is a clever way of saving some resources there. I would start with the brute force approach of splitting all the 3 signals and adding 2 min and 2 max modules.
So first we compare this with this, then we compare this. No, we compare this with this, right?
Yes.
And the output goes here. And then we compare this with this, and the output is compared to this. And nope. Oh, did I place them upside down?
Yes, that's
Okay.
it.
Okay. Fixed. Yeah. So this is the ugly brute force, but it works. Hey, it's a Swiss Army chainsaw, like they say for Perl. All right, and one final one. Okay.
Is
Yeah.
there a way to run VST plugins without GFX GUI?
Yes.
Reaper can do that.
Oh, cool.
While this is loading, I can show you real quick. And yeah, what is the problem, John? Is the GFX too heavy? Is that the issue? Yeah, over here in Reaper, there is a UI button here, and you can click it, and now you're seeing the raw sliders declared by the VSC. In this case, there's a lot of them.
Sometimes I do like an override. Like there was a plugin called Vasthouse, which whose GUI was too slow to load when I was loading an instance. So what I did instead was create an FX chain in Reaper, which is essentially preset. And but before I saved it, I just loaded Vasthouse, and then I clicked the UI button so it loads without the GUI. And then I saved that as a chain. So every time I load the chain, it loads by default without the GUI.
Now you're making me curious about something. And that is, oh, and I just realized that I was showing to Cwits the thing, but I wasn't sharing my screen here on Skype. So I'm taking over the screen share, and I will let you take over in a moment. But just so you know, Cwits, in let's open a VSC here. This is the button you want to press, and this is what it looks like.
Yep.
But now, what I'm curious about is, could I right-click and default settings for new instances? Is there any setting here for disabling the UI?
I haven't checked that out.
No. Yeah, apparently there is no setting for that. Hey, here's a feature request, right? We could have
Or
a
you
default
do
setting for new
my
instances
workaround.
of like download the user
only-
interface.
Is it only Reaper feature or is some kind?
You can do it in Ableton if it has parameters. You can click
do
that
logic as well.
Yeah.
Skip the UI.
In Ableton, you can click on that triangle, and usually the parameters show up. Sometimes they don't show up, so you have to click the configure button and then tweak a parameter, and then it appears on the GUI list. But yeah, Ableton is weird.
That's good news.
And John is sharing that his new plugin is a bit too slow on slower machines. But it's
Well, the
just made
bass
as my
guitar.
other plugins and only slightly different from my Guitar Station plugin. I wonder if I should still release it. Yeah, on newer Macs it's no issue. Maybe people should use computers that are not too weak or not
That's an
requesting
interesting
plugins like
one.
mine for weak computers. The problem is there is a barrier to what you can do in JSFX because, as far as I understand, the graphics are rendered on the CPU. And if you, like John, if you're doing Retina display, so that's already double the amount of double the resolution, which is 4 times as many pixels. And then you want to do 60 hertz refresh, and you want to do fancy graphics. JSFX can't handle it because you need a GPU for that.
And the Toucan plugins, it's loading bitmap images, isn't it?
Yes.
So there's a bunch of bitmaps, and you might hit like if there's a set ceiling to how much graphics you can load Might hit that.
And
Might be,
yeah, let's not forget that Reaper already got a little bit of optimization in the latest version regarding JSFX that load images. So
But there is still a ceiling. Unless they fundamentally rework how the drawing is done, there is a ceiling to what you can do. In my experiments, even with a M1 processor, so a relatively new Mac Mini, I wasn't able to do any meaningful drawing at 60 Hertz 4K or Retina display. Right?
Or maybe John could use a more efficient image compression algorithm.
But that's just it, right? You want to do any kind of drawing like text or anything that moves, it becomes unfeasible. So I guess, John, perhaps you are reaching the limits of JSFX for user interfaces. And that's what C++ is here for.
It could be worse. For example, I broke JSFX.
We can try to make C++.
All right, Fotis, take over the screen and let's do one more.
Yeah. Boom. Oopsie. Okay, irrigation system. So now we have a lot more modules in our disposal. We have the VCA, split and sum, we have bias, attenuator, and the AND or NOT logic ones. So when source 2 and source 3 are at 100, send source 1 to at 1. If either, I think this is where we create an XOR gate.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a bit tricky. But yeah. So first we have to create an AND gate.
There is a lot of stuff to send to output 1. Do we would just add all of this together?
Yeah, I guess output 1, if we plate, this is what it wants.
Okay, let's work on this step by step. So it's talking about source 2 and source 3 being at 100 volts. We know how to do that.
Like this.
Yes, but now it's not asking us to send the result of this computation to output 1. It is asking us to send source 1 to output 1 when this is the case. So I think that we need to use a VCA and use the output as a control voltage, yes. And then the source 1 goes to the input of the VCA and output goes to output 1. So with this, we should be getting the right answer when both source 2 and source 3 are 1. And skimming this quickly, I think that this is correct. Anytime that source 2 is high and source 3 is also high, we are getting the right answer. Okay. So if either source 2 or source 3, but not both, are at 100 volts, so now we need to do an exclusive OR, and we don't have a gate for that, right? Well, do you know what to do next?
I think I can use the attenuator.
Ooh, interesting. I was not thinking about that. I want to see what you come up with.
I could use the attenuator as a CV and then create an OR, and then I use this one. No, I'm a bit stuck. First of all, I need to split something, right? Because
we are going to use sources 2 and 3 multiple times. You're right. So split sources 2 and 3. Or even split all 3 of them, because I bet that we're going to need
Let's
source
split
1.
all of those. Yeah. So boom. First one is here. Second one goes here. Boom. The third one goes here, blah, blah, blah. We should be getting the same result as before. Yes, we do. So we resolved the first question just with splitters. Now, now let's create the OR. We're gonna put those in here and then use VCA. Could I use a sum to sum the output of the VCAs?
You can, but we are not done yet because, well, for one thing, we didn't implement the exclusive OR, but also the second phrase says send the inverse of source 1 to out 1.
So when you do inverse, you use the
attenuator at minus 1%.
But I have to place in. So.
And it is the result of the attenuator that is the input to the VCA.
Yes. Oopsie. So the attenuator gets 1, and then.
Yes, that.
Okay.
And yeah, I suppose we use a summation module at the end.
Let's sum this one and that one. More right results than wrong. We solved 2 out of 3.
But we now have a problem in the beginning. Both source 2 and source 3 are high, but we are getting the wrong answer right in the first step.
So the summation doesn't work.
Maybe what's messing it is the result of the OR. So yeah, let's not worry about this right now, but we broke something that was working before. We just need to be aware of that. But now let's try and implement the rest of the exclusive OR that we are going for here.
I'm gonna make some space.
Do you want a hint?
Yes.
Okay. One way that I like to think about logic gates is with the so-called truth tables. Have you heard about truth tables before?
No.
Okay, so let's just Google real quick to find the truth tables so we can look at them. It's better to look at them than for me to try and explain them with words.
Okay.
So search for the truth table for OR and for exclusive OR. And while you're doing the search, I'll quickly explain what a truth table is. Given every possible combination of inputs, the truth table for the logic gate is gonna say what the output is. And there's a very specific image I have in my head. I wonder if we'll be able to find it easily.
This one?
No, continue scrolling. That is the truth table that I'm looking for. So the thing on the right, not this symbol on the left, but the thing on the right. So A and B are the inputs, and 0 represents low and 1 represents high, and Q is the output. So this is the truth table for the exclusive OR. So if both inputs are low, the output is low.
0.
If both inputs, on the last line, if both inputs are
1,
then the
high,
output is still
then the
low.
output is still low.
Yeah, it's only when
It only gets
either
high
or
one.
of the inputs are 1 that the result is 1. So that is the truth table for the XOR gauge. Now let's find the truth table for the OR gauge.
Oh, see.
Not the
No,
3-input
that's
one,
a
just
3-input,
the 2-input
yes.
one. Well, you actually scrolled by the answer.
Okay. It's on the top.
No, you scrolled by the answer to the problem at hand, actually. But let's not get that right now. No, scroll up. Keep the. Can you do this for me? Can you keep this on the screen and then find either on this website or Google for the truth table for the OR gauge?
Oh, that's a different. Oh, this should have all of them. Oopsie. Hey, I'm European. I'm not supposed to go there.
You know, what I'm trying to do is just have both truth tables on the screen at once.
Okay. What if I use Google Images or Ecosia Images in my case? So let's open. I'm gonna take a picture of that. No. Oops.
Oh, perfect. The first image was perfect.
Mm-hmm. This one?
Yeah, except that it doesn't have XOR. Great.
Yeah.
But it does have OR. It's just not using the same language. It's using T and F instead of 0
Yeah, T
and
and
1.
F, yeah.
But we know that T is 1 and F is 0.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
true and false.
Yeah, true and false. So now I ask you, what is the difference between the the OR and the XOR?
Oh, in the OR, we have 3 falses, right?
This is getting too... Hang on. I'm going to take over the screen because it's difficult to drive this from a distance. So let's find some truth tables here that can exemplify what I'm talking about. We have the OR and the XOR. Perfect. This image is perfect.
Okay.
Don't you just hate how when you click on the... Is it just me? When you click on the image, I would want to see the image and instead I go to the website. Is there a way to go to the image?
Yeah, I open image in new tab.
Much better.
Sometimes not even that works, because Google is our friend and it loves us.
Okay, so this is perfect. It's not using T's and F's and it's not upside down because the table you found was upside down. Anyway,
okay,
so these are the inputs. 0 is 0 volts, 1 is 100 volts, and this is the output for the OR and the XOR. So now the difference should be clear. What's the difference between the OR and XOR?
The difference is that in the OR, the output is 1, even if both of them are 1.
Exactly. So what we have at our disposal is these 3 components. And we would like to make this table up. How can you combine these ingredients to make this happen is the question, right?
So we get the first 2 parts of OR and then the NOT. No, you get the first part of OR, the first 2 parts of OR, and the third and fourth parts of AND.
You would want to be able to just slice the table like this and use half of it.
Like this, yes.
But that's not a valid operation. You cannot just have half of a gauge. You cannot tell the gauge to not do something when it receives these 2 inputs. So the one way that I like to think about this is the intuitive way that we would explain XOR in English. So XOR is OR and not both. So it's either input and not both inputs at once.
And
right?
not both.
So by the way that I'm phrasing this, it's or and not both.
Oh, so we create two ors, one and one not.
Two ors, one and one not. No, it's more like one or and not and.
Oh yeah, because you're inversing what you got from not.
Yeah. So with that, take over the screen again and let's get into a spaghetti.
Brute force spaghetti.
Guys, my apologies. I will go sleep.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Thanks for joining us.
Have
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you too, guys.
Take care, Cwits.
Bye.
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 So
We already have the or. The or is okay.
okay.
Now we'll need. Well, we already have the and. The and is above, so we could just split the result of the and. No, that is splitting the result of the VCA.
Oh,
I mean, split the result of the AND gate.
okay.
That. Yes.
Let's use this one so we don't forget.
Yeah, and then we'll need to invert the AND. So let's use a notch.
Oh, okay.
The difference between an attenuator is for audio signals or
For voltage, yeah.
Okay. So now we have notch and it's weird when I say this out loud, but I hope it makes sense. And then let's have another AND gate that is between that and the result of the OR below.
Oh, so should I split that as well?
No, you can just, we are not going to use that on the CV, so you can just put that as,
Okay.
and the result of that goes to the CV. No, the result of that goes to the CV.
Oh, to the CV, sorry.
Yeah,
Boom.
that. Okay, yeah, what's the worst that can happen?
Oh my god, it worked. We solved it, guys. We solved that.
Have you
It
done this
works.
one before, when you were playing by yourself?
I've done it many times, but I still didn't understand how it worked. I had to use a walkthrough or sometimes by pure luck.
Wow, to get this by luck, that must be have been a
No,
lot
not
of
this
time.
one, but yeah. Some of those are fixed by luck, but yeah, this one I used the tutorial and the still. So we can take a look at again. Let's run through this real quick.
Yes.
So this is cool that it still allows you to view it even after you've solved it. So first we created an AND and the result of that, and then we created an OR, and then we created XOR gate that compares the AND and the OR, right? And it versus the outcome.
Yeah, the first AND is part of the ingredients for the XOR, actually.
Nice. So that was fun. Should I close it?
Do you want to do another one?
Oh, if you guys have time, yes. I'm cool.
Yeah, let's try just one more and then we wrap it up.
Okay.
I like this game too much.
Is that the after the EWI you're going to do a modular synth?
Well, it's tempting.
A logical gate. Are you a good wind player and a good saxophone player?
I don't play
A
any
good
wind
flute
instruments.
player? Boom, boom. It's called irrigation distribution circuit.
Didn't we just do that?
No, the other one was just irrigation signal.
Ah,
It was 2 words. This one is 3 words.
I see.
Irrigation distribution circuit. So source 1 is an input. Sources 2 and 3 are CV signals for 2 separate VCAs that control the intensity of source 1. If source 1's intensity is higher, send source 1. By the way, Leandro, do you have Steam? Do you have a Steam account?
I do.
Because I'm playing this. If you do, maybe I could invite you to become to the Steam family settings. I could add you as a family member so we can share games if you want to play this
Cool.
at your leisure.
Yeah, we can look into that later.
Yeah, the only disadvantage is that you won't be able to play if I am playing a game, including this one. So you will have to wait until I log out so you can play.
Interesting.
But anyway, so source 1 is an input, sources 2 and 3 are CV signals for 2 separate VCAs. Boom, boom. If source 1, they control the intensity of source 1. If source 1's intensity is higher when controlled by this one, then send source 1 controlled by CV to 1. Otherwise, send it controlled by source 3. Sorry. So
I would start with the obvious parts. Yes, this and splitting source 1 and sending source 1 to both VCAs. So that's the easy part. Now the second sentence I have a hard time understanding. If the source 1 intensity is higher when controlled by source 2, so we are talking about the output of the VCA on the left. If
we don't have logic modules this time, we only have max and min.
So if the output of the first VCA is higher, send the output of the first VCA to source 1. Otherwise, it's just talking about the maximum. Just take the maximum between the 2 VCAs and send that to the output. It's a convoluted way of explaining maximum, isn't it? Or am I misunderstanding something?
No, you solved it actually.
So it was not a modular synthesizer problem. This was a English interpretation problem.
We solved English.
Okay, so far so good. I feel like we are getting over the tutorial and we should reach some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Complicated stuff soon.
Okay, I'm stopping the sharing.
All right, let's take a last look at the chat. If you take a look at the guitar station, you can imagine that it was difficult to get the graphics done, and additionally, it has to handle all the mouse things. Yeah, you and Psyche are at the forefront of what JSFX can do.
The gods of JSFX.
Yes. All right, so let's wrap up, shall we?
Yep.
Okay, first of all, let's thank John and Dale and Nod was one for joining us here on the chat. And I want to thank you, Fotis and Bo and Cwits for joining me on the meeting.
Thank you, Leandro.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon.
And support Leandro via Patreon.
Yes,
please do.
Go and do that. The link is also in the description for that. There is a link to my website from which you can find not only Patreon, but all the other ways you can support this work. Have a good one,
please
everyone.
send me suggestions for cute animals for Leandro's design that I'm gonna make. Which animal would you like me to make it hold a saxophone or a flute?
Toucan.
A toucan again? Okay. Sure.
Why not?
Let's toucanize everything.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching the stream. You know how great it has been. Or maybe it sucked and I am glad that you stuck with me. And soon we'll be back together for some more coding or talking or chilling. The next time I'll be streaming.